Boxing was always there from about 5 or 6 years old. He went on a different trajectory, a different stratosphere. Big John, getting asked to do this and do that, and it's amazing. Big John is like...
He's just a people person, isn't he? Yeah.
He's like that on steroids, isn't he?
But you've sparred with some tremendous names. You mentioned Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce you would have sparred around with. Jesus. Tyson Fury.
If I just finish retiring and be an English champion, fucking happy days. But how the hell have I ended up here? I'm tapping a bag about to spar one of my heroes, my idols, like the top of the game, Tyson Fury.
This might actually... We could just roll from now then.
And then you're fucking baby.
We're already recording.
This clip is a representative of you.
Gaff. Some gaff.
Right, let's start. You said you were going to do episodes.
We've already started, bro. It's recording. I feel like that was too good and organic. We're in the episode now. But for the sake of it, welcome back to episode 5 of Beyond the Plate on the Stomping Ground, because Deeney wanted it his way. Johnny Fisher.
See you again, my
friend. Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you.
How's life, bro?
It's good, mate. Obviously recovering from a little injury, but it's all looking good. It's all looking rosy. I had the scan a couple of weeks ago, like a follow-up scan, and the tear isn't as large and as significant as they first thought. So hopefully, I am back out at the end of this year.
No operation needed. Lovely. It's just a tear. Luckily, the tendon stayed in place, and it's just a muscle tear. And I went and got it checked out straight away. It's nice and thin. And it can heal without having any surgery. I love. He has no clue what we're talking about.
No, but
I don't get it.
You know,
Did you have? Did you have to have any injections or anything?
No, they was going to debate whether having a PRP injection would help because it spins the blood.
Already in
and it spins the blood.
Do you think these lot get it either?
What do you mean?
The people that are watching.
No, but it was just two.
They've got the same
athletes.
Athlete to athlete.
Just trying to understand.
Calm down.
It's a brotherhood you won't ever be in.
I don't know, actually. I've got a great way to start then.
Go on then. They're not breaking stuff.
I can achieve athletic status through one challenge.
He reckons he can beat me in a 100-metre race.
Yeah, I saw this on a previous episode.
Just think of those little legs trying to outrun me.
Bruv, I swear to you.
I don't know where that's coming to your head, but
someone please. Okay, one sec. Yeah, I'm going to bring up Troy Deeney FIFA card.
Rankings.
Right, I am sorry, but there is no way a man.
Wait, you've just gone past the good ones.
No, because I can't. I'm not judging it off your team of the season.
What about that one?
That's an end of an era card when you retired. No, because you didn't have 87 pace.
I'm telling you,
87 pace.
71 rated striker. Yeah. When was this? At what point?
This is
FIFA 23.
2 years ago.
46 pace. I'm telling you, I can beat a man with 46 pace in a 100-metre sprint.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's based off real
in the new
performative
game
stats.
That's coming out soon. In the new boxing game, Johnny's rating on it. It's not going to be what it is in real life.
I don't think I'm on it.
But do you get what I mean?
Undisputed.
But there's going to be a level. If you was on it, there'd be a level that you were at. That computer puts exactly
different, right? Because my FIFA overall would be 1. My pace would not be 45.
What would your pace be?
Wait, just use your own logic, yeah? Your rating would be 1,
what's your
pace would be
What's your 5K time?
My best one?
Yeah.
You want to know?
Yeah.
18 minutes 35.
So I'm not far off.
Yeah, but that's a 5,000 metre race. It's not a 100 metre.
Me there to there. How quick can you run a pitch length?
Do you think you're faster than me?
Nah. Because he's in his prime.
What are you talking about?
But I think Troy would be faster than me now.
Do you?
Yeah, because
I'm
it's
fast
running.
over 50 metres, over that sort of distance. I'm probably better than 100.
But so that's not me going, Joe, I could punch harder than him because apparently as you get older, your power's there.
No, you get slower as you get older.
But your power stays there.
Yeah, but I'm not saying I can punch harder than either of you.
But you're missing the point. This is why we need guests, because you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I say this all the time. You've just said...
There's a big long, hang on. There's one way. It's a big long corridor.
Let's have it off.
No, we are actually filming.
Don't tell anyone out there you're going to do it.
Just run. No, we are actually going to film.
Is there dogs?
Everyone's just got their dogs.
Yeah, for some reason in the city, everyone just brings dogs into work.
French bulldog.
I bet they're like small dogs, like small breed dogs. Yeah.
French bulldog bit somebody earlier. It was a bit dodgy.
You got a Rottweiler, haven't you?
That's got to happen at some point, the corridor run.
No, not the corridor run. We are getting a sprinter to take us on the track, and we're doing a 100-metre sprint race. And I'm sorry, you can call me ignorant all you want, and I don't care, but if I fucking beat you in this 100-metre sprint, I will be smoking on that Troy Deeney pack.
But even you went, hey, that doesn't sound right coming out of your little body. Any of that, what
so
you
you
just
think
said.
your rating would be 47 pace, 48 pace. On
I think I'd have more pace than him on FIFA.
Cool.
Anyway,
we got a guest who's a fucking legend who's came in to help.
Yeah.
And you're talking about fucking me and you and FIFA cards.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's a chat, mate.
Yeah.
It's a chat.
Well, let's chat to Big Johnny. We don't get him enough, so let's go.
Are we going to go off what we were initially talking about before the recording that you don't quite understand?
Yes.
All right. Hinge. Which is going to be the weirdest way for like people that have tuned in. They've probably just seen like a Dimitri Bivol interview. And then the next thing that they're seeing is Johnny Fisher and Troy Deeney talking about
but
Hinge.
It was Oscar that was delivering the Bivol.
It wasn't us initiating the...
No, but what I'm saying is they might be on the channel and go from one extreme to the other.
So basically, Joe, I'm 36, right? I'm a bit old. I'm married, kids, all of that. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Young Charlie here is desperately grafting on the girls that work here.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
he's
trying
painful. Trying
Absolutely
his best with
painful.
his gear. His gear is fucking awful.
He's using what he's got.
Yeah, and he's also using...
But he's a fine young gentleman. He can talk. I'm not putting him down.
Gift of the gab.
Yeah. Not to these young ladies. You have been stinky. You have... Because the one girl just left.
Yeah, but
as soon as you started talking, she went, "Yeah, see ya," and just walked out.
That was actually because she dropped me a message. Was like, "Bro, I can't deal with that fella anymore."
So you're not exactly the Wizard of Oz when it comes to the women.
I don't know, man. Gift of the gab works. Anyway,
but what we're saying is he's talking about Hinge. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And he's saying that
everyone now,
everyone's on it
on Hinge.
I think it's like when you're young, like 18, 22, 23. A lot of guys then have it, but. Especially university students, it's more. It's like a.
Were you a Hinge man in your Exeter days?
I had dabbled for a little bit, but after talking to these ladies, like I'm in agreement with these. Like it's just a pointless, vaporous.
Yeah,
thing.
it is.
Vaporous, like, good word.
But it
must.
Like
that word. You don't know what that means, do you?
No, I don't know what that means. and I got an A level English language, which is arguably even worse, to be honest.
But it's just if you're in a new location like a university, like it's a good way to talk to people. Meeting people. But not really my style.
Huh. My time was like MySpace and that.
Yeah,
cool. So I mean, just a little.
You'll
drop that on there.
BBM. Huh? Were you ever?
I remember BBM.
Ping, ping.
Yeah. Oh, that's as far as my memory takes me. BBM.
BBM was the
Yeah. Anyway, talking of, because you are, first of all, A, you're a fucking hard bastard to push people's head. B, you're smart and intelligent.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you end up in boxing when you were so, obviously you was on a path to greatness as well with rugby and sport and all that?
Boxing was always there from about 5 or 6 years old. I've always been boxing clubs, although I didn't have a long amateur career. It's always something that was in the back of my mind. Always wanted to do that. But as you said, I went to Exeter University and played rugby there. The only reason I started playing rugby is I played one game at sixth form. I dropped the ball and about 4 blokes landed on my hand and broke my hand. So for 2 years, I was sorting that out because I didn't know it was broken at first. Just strapped it up, playing rugby on it, cracked on. But you don't know. It's funny because you've got so many little bones in your hand. You don't really know there's a little break in there. Yeah. But obviously, when I tried to punch on it, then that's when I could feel the pain in it. And I thought,
just for the impact.
Yeah. And I just thought I'd knuckle down with rugby for a bit. Exeter's a great university for sport, and rugby is probably their biggest sport.
Yeah. Were you playing rugby for Exeter?
For the first team in the freshers. So
you would have been at a good level then.
Listen, them boys who went on to play at first team in the third year, they're the boys that make it to Premiership teams.
Yeah.
They can be touching national teams as well. And they can make a good living playing rugby. But for me, I was very raw. I could play at a certain level. If I really, really knuckled down, I probably could get into the fringes of a championship team if I really tried. But I didn't have the same drive for it as I did for boxing. You've got to do what you enjoy, haven't you? So,
it's passion-led though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
With the greatest respect, rugby's not as well paid as the other sports.
Like when I say Premiership, them boys are on nowhere near the Championship or the League One sides in football.
In football,
you know what I mean? So you have to really, really knuckle down and have a passion for
rugby. But it's funny you say that, Troy, because you look at boxing and obviously, and I think what we'll get into, what makes Johnny, like what does so well for Johnny is obviously like, as a topic I was going to discuss later on, is there's more to being a boxer now. Like I've discussed this with Eddie. You've obviously got to sell yourself online, and which yourself and your old man have done that
especially
tremendously.
With people in listen, I don't compare myself to misfits at all, but you see them guys, they've got no boxing skill whatsoever,
and they can go
they
and
know how to
10 times more than
and they tap into their following. That's what they do. We have got to learn a little bit from them guys, but don't fake who we are.
No.
Just
but
give
an
people a little bit more
account of yourself. But it's interesting because you talk about, I suppose, rugby not financially being the big mover. Boxing could have been a bit of a risk for you.
Yeah.
Because at the low levels in boxing, and I don't mean that, like, look at Josh Warrington, for example, started out in leisure centres up in Yorkshire.
That's where most start out like that.
Some boxers are paying to fight.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. So boxing really could have actually been the rough end of the stick, right?
And that's what my dad said to me. He said, we used to deliver in lockdown when we were selling meat on the van. We'd deliver to a few boxers, few of my good friends, and a lot of them weren't living in luxury, and they're like, these are like experienced professional boxers. They've had lots of fights. And my dad said, Johnny, if you're going to go into boxing and this is the existence you're going to have, there's no point doing it because it's so hard. Yeah. So if you get into boxing, it's got to be for a good avenue. You've got to do it right. And luckily, with the guys that I had, S-Jam and then Eddie coming on board, it was like a miracle, really. It's only because I was from Romford, he took a whim on signing me for 1 year. Yeah. And from there, that gave me the platform to go and prove myself a little bit. And it was great.
What I was going to say is, I think you're the first boxer I've ever spoke to with an exit strategy. Yeah. So most people are normally thinking, right, gonna do this, do that, and become world champion. Where you're saying the chat with your old man was like, right, before we do this properly, the exit strategy is going to be.
That's it, and that's the way we're sort of brought up. Listen, we're not a poor family, we're not a rich family. We're just normal working people, and you always have to think sensibly about what you do in life. And listen, I could have gone into the city. I was training to be a barrister, really. That's what I was going to do. I'd done my history degree.
I'll tell you what, if you would have turned up to look after me, I'd have been fucking up. I'm in big trouble.
You got him in the courtroom going, bah.
Would need a gavel.
Get him off and I'll get you a Chinese. But that's what I was going to do. I was going to do a law conversion course, go into something steady, or something in the city. But it's funny how life works out, because now I've actually got more connections and more network. Of people. If I had to just say I got this injury was really bad and I couldn't box ever again. I've got people that I know and people I've met through boxing that I could go and do a career path.
I was going to say, you could actually go into a law firm like tomorrow and just pick up like that.
But I still have to be trained, obviously.
Of course,
but there's the networks, and it's also about who you know and the people that you meet, and that's anything with life.
But I think that's a testament to yourself, though, because I always think you got to be ready for your opportunity. Because people talk about luck, right? You can be lucky and walk out here and you bump into a billionaire. That's luck. But the geezer still has to like you. Still has to know who you are and trust you. So there's still an element of always
your own luck, right?
An element of always being ready, and I think you're always ready for everything.
The same with boxing. Like if you're going, it's a sport where there is nowhere to hide, even behind the fights when you're training, when you're going to spar. When I spar people like Dubois or Hrgović or Fury, if you can't cop it or hang at that level, even as a sparring partner, you're going to get found out.
You get found out early doors,
So there is elements of luck with everything in life, but you've still got to go up and sharp and do the job, as you said, Troy, when you get there.
For what is a career, and I think fair to say we'll probably look back in this in 5 to 10 years, and at infancy level at the minute, really, you're in the building stages of your career. Let's take it back to, I suppose, maybe that first pro fight as such. Because it'd be fair to say that I remember the first Zoom we did. I was in fucking 1996, England, Gareth Southgate top. I must have been 16, 17 at the time.
Had some total 90s on, you think?
Probably was still the same height.
Probably had a better haircut.
No, actually same trim back then. Short back and stomping. But life has changed crazily for you, right? Like, it really has.
It has changed a lot, and I'm grateful for that. And it's not as if, but one thing my dad and my mum really as well, keeps us all in check, and you don't want to become, you're never going to be...
The big I am.
The big I am. There's nothing worse than being something like that, and I'm not saying I am, because in terms of boxing, as you said, I'm at the bottom of the mountain. I've got to still keep climbing up, but... We've got a more comfortable way of living for my dad as well. Someone, the way he earns his money, I remember him getting up at 4 a.m, selling cheese and making hardly any profit on it. And it's like, what is the point of this existence? At least now he can have a life where he's enjoying what he's doing. He's going on stag do's to Marbella and Benidorm and stuff like that.
He is living some life, by the way.
That's great, but we've still got work to do. And I think that's always, you always want to have something you're working towards, and we're in a good position. When you look back 4 years ago, life has changed immensely, but I'm still on a mission to try and get better, you know?
Would you have said 4 years ago this was part of the plan?
No. Not at all. I didn't know I was going to be a professional boxer 4 years ago. When I had my debut, it was like, and when they said, do you want to turn pro, Sam Jones and Adam Morley, I was like, I might as well give it a try and see what happens. I might make it for a year and have some good memories and spar a few good people, and I can go into something else after. But I didn't think we'd still be going now.
Was it like an itch? You felt like you needed to just, let's see.
I love boxing. I'm a boxing fan before anything. And I'll be watching you guys and people like you with YouTube channels, IFL TV. Sorry for giving them a shout out, but Stomping Ground.
That's all good.
Now,
we're open to it.
Yeah, we are.
You know what I mean? Like, I was that guy at university watching boxers and their like the day in the life videos and stuff like that. And then so I was beginning to do something that I'd always watch. So I just enjoyed it. And I think with anything you do in life, if you enjoy it, you're going to get success out of it.
Absolutely.
What's funny with you is you're quite raw in terms of, Eddie will still mention this as well, like in terms of amateur pedigree.
Yeah.
And that's what, to me, almost makes the story so much more exciting, and probably to you as well.
Does.
Because with your career, we're still learning on the job.
Yeah.
Everything you do is learning on the job. It's been quite a journey, though, for someone who is learning on the job as such.
Well, I had 10 amateur fights and I've had 12 professional fights.
What was your amateur record?
I had 1-10, lost 1. A split decision.
Of course.
Yeah.
Pretty decent, isn't it?
But they were like, you couldn't even read much into them fights.
Yeah,
I had 6 before I was 14, 15 years old.
Oh.
And then I had 4 when I was 19.
I didn't know that was...
So literally, it was
a
like,
break.
there was a big break for 3-4 years.
Wow.
And
So 4 seniors going into the pro game.
Yeah, you can't really learn much from that.
I remember when you first came on the scene, because I'm a boxing fan as well. When you first came on the scene, I thought, is this another Dave Allen type?
Yeah.
That's
and listen,
what I
if
thought.
you can tell me I end up like Dave Allen,
That's
I'd love it.
I like Dave Allen. I know he doesn't like you, but Dave's I like the way he conducts himself, and he's brutally honest.
Yeah.
And when he's up, and when he's down, down. But I thought, okay, is Eddie trying to just jump behind this person?
Yeah.
Then I met your dad, at one of the shows, I forget the show, and we were just chatting, and he was like, I was like, get it now.
Yeah.
I just had a chat with your dad about how you are and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then talking like, obviously you've got sense, you got your wits about you.
Of course.
And I thought, he's a dangerous fucker. But honestly, like, don't want to, why would you want to, when you get into a fight with most people, we were talking about this on a previous episode. No people online now are going, he's saying people are going to chin him when they see him. I was like, mate.
And everyone gets it.
Whenever you're around, anyone who could hurt you doesn't want to hurt you. They avoid it at all costs.
We don't need to fight on it, especially outside of the ring. Jesus.
Yeah. And anyone who isn't will talk about how much they're going to do. It's nonsense. So I say all that to say, imagine getting into a ring and into a sport where you know it's dangerous, you know it's horrible, and you go, I want to do that. And by the way, I had this fledgling career here that I could go and be really safe. That's a dangerous fucker to be around.
Who's decided to take the whole...
There's benefits and there's pros and cons of both ways. If you've been brought up through the rough streets and you've got to fight, that forges you in a different way. But if you're there just because you want to do it and you love it, that's a quality in itself. And listen, I'm never going to big myself up or be arrogant because I know the lottery of heavyweight boxing. Anybody's lights can get switched off at any point. But one thing I know is I've got the ability to switch someone's lights off. Whoever I go in with.
That's a dangerous trait to possess.
I've always got a 5%, 10% chance with anyone
no matter what.
No matter what. So as long as I keep going, as long as I keep building in the right direction. And for me, it's about boxing. Yes, you want to win belts, you want to win accolades and stuff, but it's about the material things as well. I'm not going to lie about that. I've got a mortgage on a house. I want to pay that off. I want to get my mum and dad a little place to stay. That is the bottom line of what we're in boxing.
But that's your why, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my why.
Yeah.
And it's not a glamorous thing, but listen, we're all trying to earn money and earn a living for us and our families. So that's the bottom line.
There's a question on that, actually, because I could have took that two ways. One was obviously the Dubois Joshua thing, but I think that's been spoken about enough, so we'll part that up. There's a boxer, remind me of his name, he's talking about going into WWE.
Delicious Orie.
Oh, is it?
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Right, so really interesting. So he's gone on Sky Sports News this week.
Yeah.
Obviously off the back of the Olympics, everyone's expecting him to turn pro.
Yeah.
And he said that he's had an offer from the WWE and that he's seriously considering it. Yeah. Now, I don't know how to almost process that as such, because I mean, you're probably even there thinking like that's a bit nuts hearing it, but then financially, if you think,
I'm just thinking of a big Johnny Fisher tag team in the WWE.
That would be fucking marvelous, by the way.
Like
is that mad to hear?
But you're too young for that.
Not particularly in the world that we live in now. I don't think it's mad. I've seen Tyson Fury do a couple of. I know he's an established guy.
Yeah,
it's slightly different, but. Listen, Delicious. I know Delicious. We was at the Young Boxer of the Year awards a year ago now, and he's a down to earth guy, and he's got to earn a living as well.
Yeah,
but I think he'll get an offer from someone in the boxing world. realistically, you go through boxing and then you do things like that. That's the path. But if he's getting offered serious money,
that's what I'm saying. Ultimately, it's a financial decision, right? I mean, Troy, what are your thoughts on?
I don't really have thoughts on it because I don't know the person, so it's hard to make a judgment either way. It's either when I heard it, I thought, is that a leverage play to get bigger money from Eddie or whoever? I've got offers from WWE actually, so I don't really need this. Where most people going into the game,
everyone else thinks then, I've got up my money a bit.
But most people going into it are desperate for Eddie, Frank, Ben Shalom, whoever, to take them on. I think he's just in a position to go, well, I know you all want to speak to me, so
something just came into my head, like, what would your wrestling outfit be if you was a wrestler? And what would your nickname be?
Oh, God, I couldn't imagine myself as a wrestler. It'd be awful, wouldn't it?
Maybe a Peter Parsons. So Spider-Man outfit.
Peter Parsons,
Spider-Man cape.
Bro, I was thinking, like, what would be the most, like, British quintessential version of, like, Rey Mysterio?
Yeah.
Because he was fucking small,
or just a flat cap and your little wax jacket, like a Cotswoldian.
Yeah. I could be the farm boy.
I played rugby in Cirencester, you know?
Yeah, okay.
I played rugby against Cirencester Uni. And
God, that's a mad old gaff.
I was going through these hills. It was like Lord of the Rings. Like, these houses in the trees. I was like, what's going on? I turned up, about 100 kids in flat caps and wax jackets on the side, and they've all got leads. And I thought were dogs. They're all walking lambs on the lead around the thing. Like, hey boy,
you're joking.
To a lamb,
Do you know, I've
never seen that, you know.
No, he gives it like he's from the mean streets as well. He said he's from South London, Epsom.
Went to school in Epsom.
Sorry.
Hold on.
And then we moved.
Explain this on a previous episode.
I had to get out of the area.
A bit dodge.
It was a bit hot. I had to pick up on the mean streets of Cirencester instead. No, it's funny you say that, actually. Troy, you've never really experienced the Cirencester's an interesting old gaff. I remember, and Johnny would probably be able to say this, when I first went there, it's like, and you would have said that with the agricultural college, I mean, school was a little bit different. But like, you'll go to the Boozer on a Saturday night and it's like being thrown back into the 50s or 60s, isn't it? It's actually like...
In what sense?
Like the tweed jacket. Yeah, no, it is. It is. It's a crazy gaff.
I love the Cotswolds though.
Beautiful.
It's not somewhere I'd say is the mean streets, obviously.
No, definitely not.
But like, you've got Chipping Norton, Chipping
very nice.
Yeah, lovely little picturesque villages and stuff. But
we talk about your old man. Would you say influential in terms of, we talk about marketing yourself and stuff like that. Obviously, he's blown up massively. Has he almost helped your boxing career?
Of course he has, without a doubt. I remember when we first started, and we were selling tickets before Big John became a thing. I remember at the O2 and the Ali Pali, like 3,000 tickets. It was amazing. But then he just he went on a different trajectory, a different stratosphere. Big John, getting asked to do this and do that, and it's amazing.
What made him do that? Sorry to interrupt you.
My brother's just like Henry.
Henry is a genius. He's a genius.
Like, he'd be moaning about my mum's burnt dinners, and he'd be like, I don't know if you've seen the clip when he goes, "Fine, I won't have anything then. Good night," and he just runs off to bed because my mum's burnt the pork chops. And then it'll be him, little clips of him getting Chinese, and then we'd be walking in the street, and then Big John would go get pictures asked for him, and was like, "What's going on?" And my dad thought, it's because obviously they've seen me on DAZN with the boxing and stuff like that, and then. And I was like, no, you're Big John, you're on TikTok. And he didn't even know he was on TikTok.
Fuck it.
But now he's grown it, and now Henry, who's good at all this sort of stuff and getting it out there, he's just gone to a different level. And I think it's because people can relate to having a 100%. Chinese on a Saturday night, or just having them little urges. Like, Big John is like,
he's just a people person, isn't he? Yeah.
He's like that on steroids, isn't he? Like, so they can relate to it.
Yeah, but I think that's the beauty of it. We spoke about it even in the making of this. He's not trying to be anyone.
No,
he's just being himself. He's just being captured in a world that's full of fake.
Yeah, and he hates being called an influencer and stuff like that. Yeah, when people say that because he's not.
I'm going to say that though, but I see him.
Yeah. Call him an influencer.
You're one of my favourite influencers. But he's just normal. He's a normal bloke. But I think that's why people resonate with him.
Absolutely.
The geezer's doing club appearances.
I know.
Does he still do club appearances?
But club appearances, like in general, clubs are on the way out.
Definitely.
But he now's doing like. He goes to Marbella, Benidorm. He's going to Australia next week again.
Did you do a tour in Australia?
I went to Australia with
So
Big
what's
John.
that like?
Because
you know
amazing.
how mad it is to be... Like, this is where the boxing world is like... This is why your story is fantastic, right? Because we talk about, coming from the small halls and, like almost having to pay yourself to fight. All of a sudden, you've got this exciting heavyweight who... like in camp, your diet compared to your old man's diet is like,
and even more so now. Like I've strictened mine up, made mine even
out
more
of
strict.
camp.
Yeah, out of camp as well.
Okay,
I don't even
so
eat
you give
rubbish.
yourself
to then have like. Obviously, you've built up a big platform doing stuff like with your old man through fighting and everything, and your old man's got this platform to the point that they're going to Australia. I think
it was
like,
mad. It
they're
was crazy.
booked to go to Australia and New Zealand. And what do you actually like get up to on these tours?
When you get there, like we're there with Invades. Shout out to Dom who runs these events. They're like horse racing events in England.
Okay,
but he's grown
I've
it
seen
into,
those. Yeah,
he's grown
yeah,
to Australia as well. And Big John's doing DJ sets. He's an international DJ now. When he says DJ, he just presses a button and then pretends that he's doing it. And everyone's like, and everyone in the crowd's going, "Oh my god, he's mixed that so well." But yeah, he does that. And then when you're out there, like there's like Aussie boss soldiers who like invite you to this place. So we've got this cafe here. So we do little things like that. But
brilliant.
It was amazing. Just a bit to go to Australia and do that with your old man was just a unique thing. So
was the relationship with your old man always like that? It feels like it's a friendship.
Yeah. Well, listen, me, my brothers, my dad, we're mates as well. We can go away and.
But that's special itself, man. Not a lot of people have that.
It don't mean we don't argue. We argue every day. You know what I mean? Like a normal family does. And you got that's the beauty of having three brothers as well, all similar age. We all get on. And it's just a great laugh. And to do it with your old man is something special. But as you said, with going over there for Big John, there's sports fans there and they recognise me from boxing if you're a boxing fan.
Yeah.
But the way that they idolise Big John, it's
Bro, I have people,
they have different reactions. Like, when they take a photo with Big John, they're like, "Oh my god!" Like it's made their whole year.
I'll FaceTime Johnny.
Different.
I don't know, every 6 months or so, and one of my mates will have been in a club or a boozer somewhere, and they're like, "Oh my god, look at this! Like we just got a video with Big John. Like he is fucking."
They get so excited.
It's
over him.
mad, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And also, what a great geezer for it to happen to.
Yeah, Big John.
On your boxing career, shout out Big John. On your boxing career as such, how on earth did you go for fighting in lockdown with no crowd to then being 3-4-0 and selling? That must have been a bit of a reality check.
It was. I didn't, because when I thought I sold 2,000 tickets at the O2, the first one, I thought that'd be a nice, because it was when Dillian White was meant to fight Otto Wallin. The fight got called off.
And Chantel Cameron
was fighting on that one, And I thought, there'll be a little bit, there will be a little section for me. And then Eddie came in the change room and was like, "John, they're going fucking mental out there." I didn't know it would go like this. And then the whole bowl was full of Romford Ball fans. I thought, and that really stiffened my legs up when I went out into the ring. But when I've done it 4, 5, 6, 7 times now in front of a crowd.
I suppose then you didn't know what to expect.
I didn't know what to expect, but now my body's used to it. And when I walked out my last fight in Babic in the copper box, I was like, I didn't feel nervous at all because of that experience.
You fucking ran through him.
But I just thought in a change room, I was like, "Is this right? I don't feel nervous. Normally, I feel like the nerves are good."
That must be a great thing.
Yeah, it was a great thing. But I was quite worried in my head. Is this where I get beat now? Because I'm not nervous at all.
Did you think that before the fight?
But that is your nerves, though.
Yeah, that is
you're
the
thinking about.
I'm thinking
what
the nerves.
You're worrying that you're not.
Yeah.
So it's like.
It's gone full
similar in
circle.
football. Like I've had times when I've watched. If I can remember everything that's gone on in a game, I've played shit.
Really?
Because you've been thinking about it. You're like, oh my God, look at that. And then as you start playing and you start going,
you're in the moment,
you're
right?
like, fucking hell. What if we lose? What if I miss this chance for me? Or like for you, might be like, what if I miss that shot?
Yeah.
Because if I miss that shot, I'm in trouble.
My style, thank God, is like the style. If I see a shot, I'll just throw it.
Yeah.
So that helps me deal with it in a sense. Once the bell goes, all of the same with you. If when the whistle goes, you know you're gonna have a game.
Yeah.
Because the nerves just go when the whistle goes, isn't it? So
Sorry, can I ask you a question? I've never thought to ask anyone this, but before. You know when you walk to the ring, right, then the ref does all of the, introducing, checking, everything. What's that like? Because I don't think anyone's ever asked that question.
Like the waiting process.
You just wait.
Yeah.
That's the tensest part, I think.
Yeah.
You're in the changing room, you're in a little bubble there a little bit. You're like, you've got your
reality is probably not.
But that's all your mates though, isn't it?
That's the most tense bit. Like, not nervy, but tense is like people slowly start leaving the ring. And the worst bit is when the ref's like that in between you both. You've got about a 10-second rate waiting for the bell. And you're like, right, just ring that bell for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? That's when you most want it.
Do you? I know you've probably not been in this situation yet, but do you? With footballers, we build into a game, so you very rarely start the game at 1,000 mile of that. You're like, right, I'm going to build into this.
I was trying to with Babic, to be honest with you. It didn't happen like that. I was just trying a couple of flicky jabs. And the first time the first time in a camp where I felt, or the first fight where I didn't feel rigid and intense. And then I was actually, in this training camp, I could just flick my jab a little bit better, and I was actually using it a lot better, just tapping people on the head. Yeah. And I feel like a mental block was in my head before that fight.
Okay.
Just like
that everything had to be hard.
So hard, everything has to be hard. Obviously, it doesn't have to be like that. If you do that for 12 rounds, you're not going to last 12 rounds.
Yeah.
And if you go into every tackle in football and you're trying to smash it, you're not going to be able to do it. So I think that was more so the training camps give me the benefit of improving as well, you know.
So talking training camps, from where you was at, like lockdown, figured it out, to now, you said you've already changed your diet a little bit. What's the big differences that's changed in your training camps?
That has been a massive thing, the diet. Lee Rickard's my nutritionist. I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was doing with food. Listen, I thought I could have a Chinese on a Saturday night and it won't really affect me too much. But if you want to get to the top levels or go as high as you can in the levels that you're capable of, them little 1-2% make all the difference.
What we've been talking about.
That makes all the difference, especially in a lottery like heavyweight boxing. And the timing of when I eat carbohydrates, when I eat protein, what sort of types of protein
Do you
I'm
overthink
taking.
it? Have you got to that point yet? Or
Not
you just
yet,
do it as you said?
because Lee Rickard has helped me. He's the overthinker now, which has made it easier for me. Like we got into our fight week hotel for the last fight, and he was looking at like the protein sources and the carbs at the breakfast, and I could see the stress on his face. And I've got to go straight to Waitrose now, get you all these bits. I was like, that took a weight off me, because I'm like, he's worried about it, not me now.
Out of curiosity, obviously you're a heavyweight, so you're not having to make weight and stuff, so you can give your body the fuel it requires.
100%.
But do you still like...
Still got to feel a weight.
No, of course.
But
I mean, like, do you still?
weight.
Of course. But do you still crave certain? Oh, you do.
Yeah.
So even though you're able to sort of eat, not as much as you'd like as such, but like you can eat probably more so than other boxers as such, and other weights.
But when you've got it's what you've got to weigh up in your head. You crave a Jaffa cake or something like that, or you crave a cake, or is that more important than beating Alan Babic in the copper box? So that always outweighs that. When it doesn't, that's when you pay the price.
That's when something's wrong.
But I'm in a great place in terms of my nutritionist, because he takes all that strain off of me.
And you just go and eat, essentially, just grand.
Like, but don't get me wrong, the day before the fight, I've never felt so energised in my life when I woke up, because I literally ate about 9,000 calories before that fight. I was eating gelato, I was eating garlic. I was like, Lee, are you letting me eat? Are you sure I can eat 2 whole garlic breads? I had 2 whole garlic breads, 2 whole pizzas, 3 bits of gelato afterwards, and I had 4 litres of chocolate milk.
Flyweights right now are
I was just
absolutely livid.
I woke up and I've never felt so energised. And I realised from that moment, my last fights, when I won the Southern Area, especially because that went 7 rounds, I thought I was underfueled for that fight. I hadn't ate enough. And I did think I did drop off a little bit after the first 2 rounds. I put a lot into it. Obviously, that takes it out of you. But I just couldn't help but wonder, if I ate that little bit better, a little bit more scientifically, another 10%.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the Alan Babic fight itself, now, like I say, where I've known you from before even pro debut, I've always seen Johnny, and it's mad because I don't mean this sort of disrespectfully either, but there's some heavyweights that you're around and you're scared of, like Derek Chisora, always has everyone on strings. Right?
You just don't know what
you don't know what version of Derek Chisora you're going to get. When I see Johnny, I know that he's going to be a lovely geezer. You don't have the mentality of a heavyweight boxer as such. What really interested me is, sometimes people get poked and prodded. Alan Babic did that with Johnny in the build-up. He really, at one point, he's fucking headbutting microphones on the press conference table. Like, he lost his shit. And me, I'm not a fighter, as we know. You would have lost your head. I know you would have lost your head.
I'm just watching him, because you know what it is? Sorry, because I'm a people person, so I watch people. You've just said that. I'm speaking for him. He just relived it and smirked. I told you, that's a dangerous geezer, because he's going.
I'll pen it all up. Don't
you worry. Noted.
But there's people.
If you look at my reaction after the fight, I've never celebrated that because of that.
Absolutely.
People disrespect him. Not only Alan, I like Alan, because he's got to hype himself up.
He knows what he's about.
People in his team saying this is too early for Johnny Fisher. Mark Tibbs has got to do the compassionate thing and pull him out. Johnny's never been in with anyone like that. All of Alan's mates, every day I was getting messages from Croatians like, Savage is coming, Savage is coming, bad mistake, Croatian flags, lizard flag. I don't know what lizards. So they were sending me loads of lizards. I was like, what's going on? So I saved all the emotion and the passion for after I chinned him in the first round. So that was the best scenario there.
But I look at AJ, for example. AJ always throughout his career, you look at him from a media perspective in the build up to fights, and he was always very. We know that he was built to be a commercial beast and a PR machine, but
I disagree
always
with
very polite and very respectful.
Yeah. But I disagree with that. So why I disagree with that? Because I think you can be polite and respectful, but there's also times with Dillian White early on.
No,
there's a nasty
Brazil.
No,
there was nasty parts of it. But what I mean, when I think, and I get sensitive because this is my guy, but when you say he's built to be a commercial, no, he won gold in London. Like it's a trajectory. Then he's gone with Sky. Then he's gone with Eddie.
He became a superstar because of his own.
It wasn't like you heard about him at 15.
No. But what I'm saying is like I've always seen AJ, and you see AJ like the AJ that you see, the AJ that I see, AJ that you see off the cameras and something similar to yourself. Lovely, respectful guy. But then I look at a Jarrell Miller fight, for example. At what point? Like AJ, like we've never seen AJ like that in a million years. They still talk about that gloves are off that was filmed that was never released. He's talking about fucking banging his mum down who's on the front row. At what point does how do you go from an Alan Babic to a Jarrell Miller? Like where does the do you know what I mean? Where you fucking lose it before you go into the fight?
Yeah, that's a difficult question
because you ain't experienced it.
And also as well, you have to, so to speak for you, Johnny, you have to be in a position where. How I would quantify it, it's easy to say, but not being in it. But with the great respect, someone like Jarrell Miller, how many fights have you heard of his in his career? You've heard AJ and Dubois. That's it. You don't really know it. So he, like Babic, he's trying to bring you down to his level, and in a much lesser way. That's what I used to do as a player. I used to try and bring these big guys down like Virgil van Dijk. I used to try and bring them into my fight. Because I'm not as good as you. Now, there's ways of doing it, and I think the ways that certain people do it is crossing the line. I always think when you have a scrap and then you go, we're mates now. I'm like, I don't know how
have you
do
just
that.
shaken.
I know there's a respect level.
I can have a fight with someone and be mates with them. That's important, but I think it's more about how you conduct yourself in the build-up.
Absolutely, integrity, isn't it?
Yeah. And listen, you can't get whatever someone does or says. Getting wound up by them, as you said, you're just coming down to their level.
I was going to say that. So
it takes a lot of self-control.
It goes one of two ways, right?
Yeah.
Could you not argue that? Okay, you don't want them to be in your head too much, but sometimes, like Alan Babic, for example, that would have motivated you, like you said before.
Fighting someone like Alan Babic, who who's got 11 knockouts on his record and know he can punch, that in itself was enough motivation for me. I stepped my game up in that camp. Where I thought I was training 110% before, I found another edge to me that I didn't have before.
I was going to say, and you'll probably go through this stage, I think it's about, everyone talks about processes, and it becomes a catchphrase now, but the process will be now, you've got nutrition, which is taking you 10% better. You're like, fucking hell. It unlocks a bit of your mind as an athlete. And you go, well, what else is there? Do I need to see a psychologist? Do I need to do this?
And I think that's part of the process of being a professional athlete as well.
Absolutely.
If you do it all at the beginning, there's nothing to learn. As you go through your career.
Learning on the road.
Another 2 years, and another year I'll be in a different place, so I might add something else to the game. But it's also about keeping things simple where you need to as well. At the end of the day, I'm a boxer, and I need to do what boxing trainers want me to do.
I'd been in football 7 years before I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that does. I mean,
I'm playing week in, week out.
It's
7 years.
And sometimes that can be a good thing because you're just going with it.
But I'll speak to world champions who, for example, I've bought a nutritionist in for this camp. Or it's the first time I've worked with a strength and conditioning
but I think boxing's a little bit.
Boxing's a bit more archaic.
Well, I was a bit backwards in its thinking because everyone looks back to like the 50s, 60s, and 70s and go, what those guys are doing, we should do now. But it's like, yes, you can take those fundamentals of the road and all of that.
You can't compare. And that's the other thing. I hear that a lot about saying that Muhammad Ali didn't do strength and conditioning, Muhammad Ali didn't do this. But do you think if Muhammad Ali was around today, he wouldn't do everything that gives you
everything? Of course.
And it ain't about strength and conditioning superseding boxing training. No way, it's a supplementation and it's all about injury prevention. Good thing about this injury, right, when I was doing strength and conditioning, he said your tendons, normally a tendon slips off. You have a tendon reattachment. He said your tendons have stayed in place. I don't know how they've stayed in place. and only the muscle tear there has come off. If the muscle that comes off, that's could be 6 months out.
So and you might not punch again the same way.
So good job I've done the strengthening of it.
We just spoke about eras, and I've obviously said you can't compare eras. This is something that Oscar's eyes are going to light up behind the camera for, because it's something that we always laugh and joke about, and it's one that the
too busy on Snapchat.
I know, he's on his Tinder premium. It's one that boxing fans will probably give me stick for discussing, but we always laugh between us. You know, like when people, for example, like say like, oh, Harry Greb would have beaten Canelo. Now, I laugh, and I don't take anything away from what Harry Greb did, but there's only a few fights that you can see. They're in black and white. It was so different. You like, and I say this to you now, can you compare eras? Like, for example, I can't sit here and say, like, you can't, I physically don't think you can say Harry Greb can beat Canelo, because what Canelo's doing is 100 years on from what Harry Greb was doing.
Anyone can beat anyone at any time with a punch. But talking scientifically, that's just like that's true though, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Anybody can beat anyone, but it's so hard to compare it. But we're always going to do it because it is that part of our mind.
But you know, like when you were giving like a top 10 pound for pound of all time, can you really put Floyd, Sugar Ray Robinson,
so different,
and Harry Greb in the same 10?
But the problem you have is,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I like to do, instead of comparing, I always look at, so the older guys had to have better foundation. Foundationally, they were better. So their skill set in terms of footwork and things, they had to be better because the rules were less. They weren't protected by referees.
They have to be fitter as well. 15 rounds.
15 rounds.
Yeah.
So, but
don't know.
I think now we're better
they
athletes.
fitter?
I don't know. That's another question we probably never answered.
They fought every month. That's all they knew.
Yeah,
but
I think mentality-wise,
there you go.
They would have been harder.
The doggedness of how they had to train. They might not have been as scientific, but the doggedness, I think people in general, though, if you go back 100, 150 years, they're more steely. They've had to deal with it's like,
more shit to deal with.
We've got comfortable lives now, but we seem to be unhappier than we ever have been.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Talk about it, Joe. Now you're talking my era. Talk.
Yeah.
Miserable. Everyone's fucking miserable.
But we've never had it so good, like in terms of...
Especially the young lady over there. She's always fucking miserable.
Is she? It's the first time I've met you, so I don't know if you're telling the truth or not.
Troy just gives us every episode.
Yeah, but it's just... The more comfortable you are, I feel like you need to have. I was talking. This is, you know, you have them random chats in the sauna or the jacuzzi in the gym. Yeah. This the man said something true. He said, because you need to have something you're working towards to be happy.
Absolutely.
And if you're just, we're so comfortable and we can live in such a comfortable environment sometimes on our phones and escaping reality. You're not happy because you've got no drive. So I think it's important in life to always have something you're working towards, because that's what gives you the ultimate sense of joy.
And I think just to dovetail on that, I think now because everyone sees what the big dogs are doing, you can follow everybody online. It makes you feel shit about what you've already achieved.
People going eating steaks in Dubai.
As in, like, social media isn't real, for example.
No, it's just giving people, just put the best aspects.
And that's the same. We'd probably say the same, right?
We all put good stuff on. I'm not going to post when I've got to pick my Rottweiler's dog shit up.
Or like when you're feeling crap with an injury in bed at like 9 PM or whatever. It's a podcast. We'd be absolutely stupid to not hear about some of your stories, and I think the best ones for me are probably, obviously now I suppose you get sparring partners in. There was a time where, and you probably, if still given the opportunity, would, right? But you've sparred with some tremendous names. You mentioned Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce. You would have sparred rounds with Tyson Fury. Okay, right. Let's go to the. So how old were you?
Absolute. The first time I sparred him, I must have been 21, 22.
Had you made your pro debut at that
22.
point?
I must have been 22 at that point.
Okay.
And he'd just joined the Tibbs camp for a little bit. I think he was looking for a trainer after he'd been with Martin Bowers. And my God, even then, like, he punches like an absolute train. His jab, I'm not saying it's harder than 70, 80% of the of heavyweights right hands.
How do you know? Again, I suppose it's just a feeling, but how do you know who hits hard versus who doesn't? Because to all of us, fucking anyone over 17 stone, it's hard.
Yeah. It's like it flashes. It makes your head flash.
Wow.
I think when they're punched really hard, and you know, right, if I get 2 or 3 more of them, it's lights out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And when I sparred Dubois more recently, I think I sparred him last Christmas before he fought Jarrell Miller. Yeah. That was the sort of time. He's added a lot more to his game even since then. He's always been very good at the 1-2 jab, 1-2. And his footwork was always something that I think is not mentioned enough. He literally just takes a tiny step out of range or a few inches out of range. That's how he got Joshua.
Yeah,
so when Joshua was overcommitting, just walks him onto it. And it is that, it's like the flashiness or that differentiates the power, I think.
On that topic then, Daniel's heart was questioned an awful lot over the course of the last couple of years in the Joe Joyce defeat. And
unfairly so.
Depends who you speak to, if I'm honest.
I think unfairly so.
I think you should speak to anyone who gets in the ring.
Who gets in, of course.
If you've got your eyeball rolling around in your socket and no one's helping you.
you. But
I just think anyone who gets in, it's easy, isn't it, for us to sit outside and go,
that's what I meant, but that's why armchair, and that's what we were talking about earlier. It's the same mates that would drop you a DM and say that they're going to chin you or whatever. But then, obviously, like even his heart, I suppose, was questioned a little bit towards the back end of the Usyk fight, and people are like, does it look like he still really wants it? So what has changed from the first time you saw him to what happened those few Saturdays ago? Because in my mind, and I've always agreed with Sam Jones on this, and I said this to Frank Warren, the job that they've done with Daniel Dubois in terms of like, I don't think sitting here, any of us, after the Joe Joyce defeat, would have gone on to have thought Daniel Dubois has done what he's done.
No,
absolutely. Whereas that man has had this undeniable...
I'm not saying I'm like a fortune teller, but he's going through them experiences, they can make you or break you. You go through Joe Joyce and you get beat by Usyk after dropping him, I think was a decent shot.
Yeah.
And then in front of 60,000 Ukrainian and Polish fans.
Yeah.
You can either let that destroy you, or I think Daniel's mentality when I've been around him is he doesn't let anything affect him. Mm-hmm. When he's walking into that ring in Wembley, he just didn't care, did he? He didn't care. He
looked like he wanted to get there.
No, yeah.
He wanted.
But I always
when the beat up was just going, I just want to fight now. I just want to fight. Yeah. He doesn't let things phase him. So all of them experiences have only had a positive impact on him.
I was going to say Daniel to me feels someone like I've only met him and interviewed him a handful of times, but you know when you interview him, like there's people that interact. So for example, if we're doing an interview, we know there's going to be a bit of back and forth, bit of banter and stuff like that. You know with Daniel, he don't want to be fucking there, right?
Yeah.
And I almost think
Joe Fraser.
Someone like that must be so dangerous because there's 96,000 people in the stadium. He doesn't give a fuck. And that makes a real dangerous fighter, right? If you're going in to fight AJ, everyone else would be like, he's like, just
he don't care.
It's almost like there's nothing there. He just wants to.
He's just super focused. And his dad's. A lot of people give his dad stick, but I think his dad's actually been one of his biggest helps because he has kept him on that path, and he's been like military style ingrained into him that you've got to be focused. So I'll give you an example. When we was training with Jimmy Tibbs doing a bit of strength and conditioning while Mark was away. We was in Stafford Abbots near the Rabbits, a pub that sponsors me, and I said, "Oh, Dan, 3 of us going to go for some food after." And he went, "No, not a pub. I don't get on the beers like you, Johnny." I'm like, "I'm not getting on the beers, mate. I'm not having a Guinness." And he was ingrained in his head that because I said I'm going to a pub, like he's just got
alcohol.
Mine was alcohol, can't be around it. And his dad would pick him up and take him from training everywhere. Didn't drive himself, and it's a military lifestyle that he was living, but. That's why he's a world champion right now.
Yeah, were you surprised?
I was surprised, yeah.
Well,
but
you still were, given your... You know, you talk about how hard he punched and stuff like that.
I felt like at that time, if he just chilled out a little bit, he'd be an even better fighter.
Yeah,
and I think where he's got a little bit more of a edge to him now, and he's getting a bit more relaxed, and I think that's actually helped him even more.
I feel like it comes and goes a bit with him. Like, I remember interviewing him after Miller, and I said to him, I was like, "Do you almost enjoy the interview process more?" And he said no, but like he laughed, and you could interact with him a little bit. But then I remember seeing him at the launch press conference for the AJ fight, and I know they just had that whole like, "I'll knock this chair across your face" thing. But like you could just tell, like
he don't care. He was not intimidated, man.
Nah. Like I'm not arsed.
Do you know what I felt? I felt that he was just Mike Tyson-esque. So when Mike Tyson came, he did dung, and he was like, "Get me to that ring as quickly as possible."
When you walked into that ring and he had that robe on, he did look like Mike Tyson, didn't he?
You know, we talk about that waiting process in the ring. Would he? What goes through a Daniel Dubois' mind in that time?
Thinking, I just want to fight. I just want to fight.
But would that tense him up or not really?
A little bit, but I don't think it matters.
I felt like, I'm not a boxer, just a fan watching. I felt like it was for both of them. Whoever hit the other one clean first, and it felt like a bit of. You remember you used to play 21 as a kid, blackjack. Yeah. It'd be like, "Fuck it, twist." I was 17, twist. And it just felt like once he caught him, he was like, got him.
Daniel's got a great trainer as well.
Don Charles,
not just a trainer, but a good bloke as well.
Yeah, you know one. It was the end of the fourth. AJ just caught him and he went back to the corner. I remember because I watched it back the other day.
Yeah. I watched it last night again.
And I remember Don's talking to him. Yeah. And it's his dad, isn't it? That he turns. His dad must say something. And Don's talking to him and he just goes, "What'd you say?"
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, fuck me, he's ready. Because the fact that he's just got hit and he can hear what you're saying, what you're saying, that's dangerous.
You talk about his old man as such. Is there a point where, for example, there's a video like His Excellency sort of jokes and him and Frank were on like, not the dad.
Yeah.
Is there... sometimes they can be too involved.
Yeah, they can be. Some dads can be too involved.
And do you think maybe that would have been the case in the court?
No, I don't know. For me, sorry to interrupt, John, I think it was more of like, he was just had his wits about him. He could hear what Don was saying. He could hear what
he could process those 3 voices he needed to process.
I've seen Don talking about it and he said it works. It works for him. Listen, my dad's not involved in my career at all. When it comes to the fighting, he helps build it up, but when he knows to stay away because he's a nervous wreck when I fight. Whenever I fight, just don't want that energy
around. You don't need that around you,
But he knows to do it. But everyone's different, and the relationship that Daniel's got with his dad, it's a different relationship, and I think it works, and the proof's in the pudding because he's now a heavyweight world champion.
Johnny, talk to us about the big man, the big GK, Tyson Fury.
King.
Yeah. That must have been, would you say I suppose it would have been him. You haven't sparred AJ, have you?
Well, not sparred,
no.
Anthony Joshua.
So that's obviously the biggest name you've sparred. What was that first call-up like?
That was the first sort of, in my whole boxing career, like a pinch me moment. I was tapping the bag. There was a few other guys sparring him. And
up in Morecambe?
Yeah, and this is before I'd fought in front of a crowd. This was when I was 3-0.
Oh, wow.
And I think I was 22 as well at that stage, or 21, 22. And I just thought, how the hell have I ended up here? I'm tapping a bag about to spar one of my heroes, my idols, like the top of the game, Tyson Fury. And I thought, I was thinking, just fucking get through the rounds and don't get sparked out.
Yeah.
But then I just thought, this is what life's all about, isn't it? These are the moments that you live for as a young kid watching it. And I remember watching Tyson Fury as a schoolboy when he fought Vladimir Klitschko in 2015. And I didn't give him a chance because I've been told by Klitschko's like this super champion, ain't been beat for 10 years. And what I liked about Tyson and his dad, it was just like talking to two normal blokes.
Yeah.
And they were just like down to earth. They're just, he'd pull up in a Lamborghini, don't get me wrong, and he'd pull up to sparring. I don't know how he fitted in one, but it was amazing just to be in that experience.
What was that phone call like? How does...
Sam Jones organised it. He was like, Johnny, you're going up to Morecambe to spar Tyson Fury. And that kid, I'd not really done any sparring trips for anyone.
I was going to ask, so what... One, that was the question, who organises it? Secondly, what's the thought process? And are you going into there, because obviously you're going to help the other person. So do they say, we want you to come at me like this, or is it you go in and be, He
didn't tell me how to do anything. And the first time we sparred twice. So the first spar was like, I didn't really give too much. He didn't catch me with anything, but it was just like a nothing spar. And I thought, I don't really want to just go up here and be a nothing guy. So the second time, I thought I'd properly try and stick it on Tyson, and he was grateful for that because I was winging the shots in and bringing it to him, and his dad was watching as well, and he said, "You've got some balls, you've got some cojones," and he was impressed by that, and hopefully that will stick with him. And at that point, I didn't know where my career was going. I was just happy that the fact, listen, I can go and when I'm older now, and I can tell my kids and grandkids I shared the ring with Tyson Fury, and it was just amazing to get a little photo with him and stuff like that.
Was there moments in there? Again, I'm just thinking athlete to athlete. There's been certain times in certain games I play against someone, I'm like, fuck me, he's just so good. Yeah. And you can't put your finger on what it is. He just does everything better.
Just know that,
Do you know else I felt that? I felt that with Tyson because the thing with him, he could punch. He's obviously can punch, but he's throwing shots from all different angles as well.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The unpredictability and there's two other guys I felt like that with, and it doesn't get a lot of credit. Michael Hunter.
Yeah. That's a great shout.
I felt completely lost.
Really? How old were you?
This was recent. I was jet lagged. I was in Vegas, but I just felt lost. But as the rounds went on, round 5, round 6, I was wearing it down because I'm a bigger man, strong, but skill wise, and the unorthodox nature. I thought he was retreating, and then he'd throw 5 and 6 shots, and I was like, Jesus. And the other one, who I thought was going to beat Daniel Dubois, was Filip Hrgović. He was probably the best I've ever sparred, if I'm being honest.
Right, I'll ask you about that then, because I was always told that, and I picked Daniel for that fight. Because I remember people vividly telling me over the years with Filip Hrgović, and you may tell me differently, but like even people in his camp had always said like he was the most 7 out of 10 fighter in sparring. As in like,
Hrgović?
Yeah, people would say like someday turn up, he just couldn't be fucked.
Yeah,
and then other days
he strikes me a little bit. Remember when Derek used to do that?
Yeah,
I remember there was a fight. I can't remember who was fighting. He fought somebody in Monaco.
Yeah, it was Caballel.
And it was like...
It's like stunk the place.
And you're like, awful. Like, do something.
Something.
Don't give a fuck. Like, he's not gonna knock me out and I'm just going to survive.
Yeah. Is that not... How long did you spend with Filip?
I spent 4 weeks with him, 4 weeks. He sparred him once when I was in... He was over for a press conference for the 5v5 in London. And after that, they asked me to go out to spar to Texas with him. But I only sparred him... I was only me and him for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sparring 4 rounds. It was 4 round shootouts. The first one we done in the Origin gym, he was just catching me at will. I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? After this, the night after they asked me to spar, I said, how the hell am I going to do this for 3 weeks? And my dad felt the same thing.
Yeah.
But you do raise your level up.
Of course.
Obviously, if you play football with better people.
Does he dip in and out though? Or did you find him to be really bang on?
But then there was a couple of spars towards the end where I thought I was getting more and more.
Yeah.
I was getting a lot more success. And
I just remembered, like, even on the week of the Dubois fight, just never seemed hugely bothered.
No, he was. I'll tell you a little bit about that actually, because he messaged me after the fight, and he was actually. I thought he was training so hard in that training camp. I've never seen anyone. Even on his days off, he was doing 800-meter runs on a Sunday and stuff like that. You need to have your rest.
As I say, is that too much?
Me and Sonny, my strength and conditioning, were like, he needs to have a rest here. He's going to burn himself out. He was doing ice bath straight after training, which we don't really do.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Because the immune system's low anyway. You're going to get ill. He got really ill before that fight. He had a virus, and he got cut in the build-up as well. So. He was sparring. When I left, he was still about 5 weeks out, and I've never seen anyone spar as good as this. He was throwing 8 punch combinations, landing every single one on the other sparring partners, moving around, looked good. And I said, he's got to calm down a bit because he's still got 5 weeks to go.
Yeah.
And that's part of that was to play into it. And if we look at Hrgovic's performance against Dubois, he showed a lot of balls in there as well on cojones because he stuck in there. He didn't get dropped, did he? He just he showed his toughness, and we know how good Dubois is now after people recognise him beating AJ, but. You can train too hard as well. Yeah. And I think he was a victim of that, and I think he admitted that.
Just on that though, like, it's interesting to hear, like, because again in sport, it's like we play every 3 days, so it's like finish the game. Straight in the ice bath. Yeah, straight in the ice bath. Put the tights on, blah, 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 look after you.
Do you have an ice bath straight after you've played?
Yeah.
Like, literally straight after?
Yeah, within 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Because normally just one within the showers to set it up and that. Well, listen, we're spoiled as footballers. Let's call it as it is. We go to the changing room.
It's all done.
Always still there.
Every changing room I've ever seen, there's always ice bath there.
And then the one we used to have at Watford, like in our home change room, we go into the showers, put the shower on, get the shit off you, and then literally
go straight in.
The ice tub's there, but it was like up to your.
I suppose if you're having a hot shower, because the one thing I get worried about, my strength and conditioner gets worried about, is the immune system straight after going in. But I suppose if you have a shower before you jump in.
Ours was just more wash the stuff down, then jump in so you get in there clean.
And the other thing I miss about, obviously not a professional footballer, but when you're playing the rugby teams and school football teams, is the food you used to get after.
Oh, straight after.
We used to go to we went to a normal state school, but we used to play rugby against these private school kids.
Yeah.
And their schools were like Hogwarts.
Oh my God.
And the food you used to get, I was like, Jesus
It's probably
Christ.
like being up at the agricultural
in my
college.
blazer, I was stuffing like sandwiches in my food. Like,
Just take a
prawn
few
and
bits
cucumber
out.
sandwiches, tuna sandwich. Lovely. Fat bastard.
Johnny, I'm a little bit cautious of time, but I suppose we've only got to look forward for you now. Now, your goals in boxing must change every week, because I remember when I initially spoke to you, I think it was like, I just want to be like Southern area or English champion.
That'd be amazing. Listen, if I just finish, retire and be an English champion, fucking happy days.
But that's changed now.
A little bit, but I still feel like that.
Yeah.
But I think I can go further than that.
That's what I'm saying. So to you now, in the position you're in, what's the ceiling for Johnny Fisher?
I think my ceiling minimum, just talking realistically, not about being arrogant, but realistically, I can be a British champion. If I could win a British title, the Lonsdale belt, I think that's, if I don't do that in my career at some point, it might take me 2 or 3 goes. It might not happen straight away, but if I can end my career and be among them names who won a British title, that's proper boxing history. I'm part of them.
Do you set out a plan? I know normally it's like the promoters do it, don't they? Or Eddie will go, I got this, got that.
Or Sam Jones.
Yeah, or whoever, So I just say Eddie because it's the only one I fucking know. So everybody else is like, oh, you're right, friend. But the rest of them is like, so would you sit down and go, right, coming back from injury, I'm going to fight person X, then I'm going to do this one, then I'll do that. And if all goes well within 4 fights, then we can get the British title.
I've always tried to not do that every single time. I've always just... Because look at this last fight. I'm talking about fighting Rudenko and then fighting this guy after. This is the first time I've started thinking like that.
Yeah,
and I get injured. So something's telling me don't ever think about.
Don't you think how mad that is?
The first time I've started to try and plan ahead because we're getting excited. We beat Babic.
Do you not think that's a bit of a blessing in disguise then?
Yeah, it is.
Just definitely
I'm saying
take
like how
one
athletes do
step
that.
at a time.
So wasn't thinking, even had his best best performance, knocks
straight back into the next one.
Yeah, and then your body goes, nah. And then we instantly now go, I ain't going to do that again.
No, I'm never doing that. I'm never thinking beyond the next one.
I remember.
You talk about it, obviously. Like people are like,
and the worst thing is you get peppered with questions.
Yeah.
So it's like AJ would have had the Fury question.
I remember doing, starting with my nutritionist in football, and I used to play at like 95 kilo, and he got me down to 93. And I felt the best I've ever felt. And I was like, mate, if I can get to 90, fucking hell, I'll be a monster.
You're more injury prone the lower
mate,
you go.
I snapped my hamstring the same day
that you fought.
We fought about it in a game in the 93rd minute.
Weird, isn't
snapped my hammy. First time I'd ever had an injury in my whole career. And I was like, I'll never think about getting
93 kilo for a footballer is big.
It's big, yeah.
Big for a footballer.
I walk around at 104, 105. Really? Yeah. That's but big, but most
when you see like a lot of Premier League footballers,
all like that,
they're so thin.
Absolutely. That's why I couldn't keep up.
That's why he scored a few goals.
That's why I beat him in a 100-metre sprint.
but it is like, but that's just sometimes it's heavy, isn't it? I'm like I say,
especially this training camp because I went from Babic and then I went straight into my next one because Eddie got in the ring after and said, "Let's fight August 12th."
Activity's good and bad, right?
It is not August 12th. It's August 24th, and then it was great. But then when that got postponed to Sheffield, 28th of September, with hindsight, I should have just said, right, no. A few weeks off now.
But it's hard though, isn't it?
It's
hard to camp to camp's a bit too much.
That's
the bit I was trying to get to.
We get sponsors, but you don't get paid your big bucks until you fight.
Of course, absolutely.
So you've got to try and...
Is it ever bonus related? I've never asked the boxers because I always think it's weird to talk about money, but do you get like a purse and then if you do X amount, you get this?
That's a great question.
Well, some boxers may do that.
Yeah.
Like there was a show on the other week.
Edward changed the contract.
Izzy said, anyone who knocks anyone out tonight on his show gets another $1,000 or something like that.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But for me, I've got a contract.
And
that's what I'm agreeing.
I was going to say, that could also be quite dangerous though, right? You know, like you look at the UFC, you've got a fight of the night and KO bonuses and stuff like that. If Eddie said to you, for example,
I'm going to try and knock someone out.
The promoter is fantastic.
Anyway.
You are. Always
trying to knock someone out.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that because I then think about, do you remember when AJ thought he could, not that he can't be a boxer, but do you remember he went through that period, transitional phase with Derek James?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I want to be a boxer. And he almost like, he spoke himself about his mentality change. He always was known as this guy who would just walk through opponents. And then he almost wanted to become this master boxer that would go 12.
Knocking people out requires boxing skills as well. The higher you go. So it's not, the end goal should always be to knock someone out. I think. If you listen, there's going to be scenarios where you might have to just jab and move for a few rounds and get to points.
Yeah, see, I like that. You should always speak to boxers. You go, how are you going to win? And they go, like.
But if you remember, because again, my dad fucking loved Tyson, loved it. So he used to be considered a brawler. If you actually look at all the detail of what he did. There's
a way of breaking people down.
There's no way. People couldn't move how he moved. He was so sharp, his footwork, but he'd be this close, would be even closer than this. And he'd be go, right, when you throw that, I'm going to dip it and bang.
I've seen it with Custamato. I've seen a little clip.
Fucking frightening, mate. Yeah. And even now, what is he, 54?
58.
Oh my God, when you see him on the pads, it's...
No, but you hear him and it's like, mate, the ability to drop, twist, and bang in one move
for a heavyweight as well, because you move like that. If I try to move like that, like he does, you can't keep it up for more than 2 or 3 rounds.
But he was such a I mean, you look at that 5'10" frame to do what he did at heavyweight in an era of big guys as well. It's proper special.
The Charlie Parsons of the heavyweight division.
I want to ask.
I think you've got a word to say about that one.
I got one final question because I appreciate the time. So. Top 3 people you would love to have it off with. Doesn't matter. This is not you're calling them out. This is
just at some point in your career.
3.
Yeah.
What the current guys?
Yeah, current guys.
Yeah. Tyson Fury. I'd love to fight Tyson Fury.
That'd be amazing.
It would be Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are both up there because they're the established guys right now in England.
Yeah.
Do you fight either of them 2 guys? Listen, I'm probably getting beat in 3 rounds, but I'll give it a good go. And then who's another one? I think Fraser's a good friend of mine. If he wins the British, I think
Fraser Clark.
Yeah,
he's a nice guy.
I like you versus either of those 2. Yeah. I was at that first fight.
Yeah, it was a great. So was I.
Yeah,
unbelievable
mental,
fight.
wasn't it?
I sparred Fabio so many times. We get on really well. He's got a great team. Rob, his coach, is
they're a cool bunch.
He's an unbelievable man.
Yeah.
One of the best blokes I've ever met is Rob.
Lovely guy.
And listen, there's no animosity towards anyone. But if I keep going in the trajectory, one day I'll go and fight.
It's also your career.
Yeah, that's it. And we can hopefully make a good bit of wedge.
He said, well, you know what? The mad thing, we were talking earlier about your old man and everything he's done, and Troy's been laughing at me because I now say Bosch so unironically.
I know.
And how nice ending episodes
you know what the
by
best part
saying
about
Bosch.
it is? The young lady over there.
This is so funny. Yeah.
We've got
Johnny Fisher coming on.
No, we've got Johnny Fisher on. She's gone. I know the name, not sure.
And I've gone.
As soon as he went, Big John. She went, Bosch. Yeah.
I get a lot sometimes now. I'll be out and say, "Excuse me, are you Big John's son?" Yes, I am. Yeah.
We agree.
Quite like that at the same time.
It's fun. It's good.
Johnny, lastly from me, you're in this world of being a professional athlete, but also having this sort of social media life that surrounds you. Yeah. You've had some mad shenanigans on the way.
Yeah.
Any that spring to note? Some mad stories that you can recall with us? I mean, I feel like you're everywhere outside of camp.
I'm trying. My mind's gone blank. There's so many fucking funny stories. I can't think of any of them. Relating to Big John and
because these like the shenanigans.
Yeah, why do you think of that?
Crazy.
I'm asking you another question. Do you ever fear that you won't be taken seriously as a fighter because of the socials?
No,
he has been taken seriously.
I literally don't care.
No.
I don't care. The only thing that I care about, honestly, is what my mum and dad say, what my family say. Yeah. Who gives a sorry for swearing? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, but the reason I ask that is because now with misfits and people like that, there's a. No,
I've got a funny story actually. Why it's in my head. It's not actually. This is 10 years. This is like 8-9 years ago before my dad was even a phenomenon. But it just proves to you that Big John has always been Big John. I remember we went on a jet ski with my brother William. And he had to go on him and like look after him because William was too young. He had to go on with him. William falls in. Henry tries to go and save him. Big John falls in as well. Big John can't get back on the jet ski. The Cypriot bloke's trying to help him get it back on. He can't, so he's just holding onto his arm, like pulling him back in. The jetty's there, made of rock. Big John has been smashed against the jetty for 100 metres. And we're all laughing at him, pulling him. We're thinking he's laughing. He's going, and he's smashed all his leg up, all on the side of it. But the sight of seeing that 30-stone juggernaut come in, it's fantastic. So that's the story. It's not about Big John being famous or anything. It's just proves you there's always his
Big John has always been Big John.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Big John before the TikTok.
What was you going to say, Troy? I missed what you
I was just going to say, like, just, you look at someone like a Tommy Fury, for example.
Yeah.
I don't think to the general public he'll ever be considered as a real boxer as long as the social media personality is bigger than that. I don't mean that disrespectfully.
And he's gone into misfits boxing.
Yeah. Of course.
I can always listen. There's boxers out there. I'm not saying this in a big-headed way, but I won a Southern area title, and there's boxers who trained all their life who won't win a Southern area title.
Absolutely.
And is it me or was it always a Southern area title fight? Is always a good fight.
Yeah,
It's always a good little scrap at just below domestic level. So I think winning that, if I believe I can win an English and a British title, I think I'll get the recognition that I deserve. I don't deserve any more or less than that.
I think what I would lastly end up on the Tommy Fury one, to me, and someone summed this up to me a long, long time ago, you'll get your hardcore boxing fans who see that someone carries the Fury name and they go, well, it's a disgrace that they're not fighting pro.
Yeah, but
however, you get 15 grand to fight a Ukrainian
you're 100% right.
Yeah.
over 8 rounds.
Or you fight Jake Paul.
For 6 million.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
And
listen,
another thing, when I'm out in Romford or in the pubs around my local area, the only questions, I never get asked if I'm going to fight any of the other heavyweights coming through because people don't know. Yeah. The questions I get asked, when are you fighting Jake Paul? When are you fighting Tom?
Do you? Do you get
I get that asked so many
Seriously?
times. They don't know any of the other guys. I'm not saying that.
It's true.
Unless you're a boxing fan, they don't know.
I wasn't saying that to like.
No.
I'm just saying the general consensus is
that's why I find the Johnny Fisher story is so unique because it's so different where like you have the following and because of your raw naturalness, okay, misfits wasn't a thing as such, but do you almost feel like if you say you were where you were then now and someone offered you misfits with your following and Big John's following, you would have taken that
Big John's been offered misfits before. He's been offered them sort of things.
To see that.
Wow. He just doesn't
Can we give him like Boogie or do you remember when them guys had a tear?
Imagine a tag team. Me and Big John versus Tommy Fury and John Fury.
I'm thinking of doing it.
You should do it. That's perfect for your sort of audience. For me, I want to be taken seriously as a professional.
Of course.
For you, why not? I think my little brother William would be good in the old Misfits. Wilbertross, who's 6'7".
He's got a style like Tyson Fury, just a lot worse. And,
I was going to say, it can't be that similar. I think otherwise we'd be seeing him fighting next week.
Albatross would spark HS Tiki-Toki right out.
Ooh.
Yeah, he'd have it large.
So Johnny Fisher's brother, you're saying, would spark out HS Tiki-Toki.
Me and Big John in the corner feeding chicken balls halfway through and still smash you up HS Tiki-Toki. All right, bash.
Johnny Fisher, thank you ever so much. What a legend.
Love it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, thank you for watching. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, favourite, repost, retweet. Troy, any more in there?
I just said he's told you all the shit to do. Send us an email if you want.
Send us an email. We're going to get some fan questions in.
Yeah. Who would you like to see us talk to next? And also, is his hair any good? Nice one.
You wish you had a hairline like that. Bosh.